Okay, so we talk with buyers, we talk with sellers, we talk about interest rates on pause twice in a row, and then you talk to people, they go, oh, you just wait for the next turn. What is the next turn? Let's talk about it today. Stay tuned.
Good morning, Mark.
How are you, legend?
The scary next turn.
Do you know what? It's 31 years of real estate. It's never been a straight road. Never. It's like everyone talks about it, dreams about it, but it's never like that.
Yeah. And look, you've been doing it a lot longer than me as well, but in my short 7 years of doing real estate, I've never once seen a media headline that says, now is the time to buy. I've only ever seen media headlines saying, don't buy, it's too hot. Don't buy, it's too cold. Don't buy because of this. Wait for this. Wait for that. I've never actually seen a positive headline. And if someone has one out there, please send it through from a major news outlet of them going, now is the best time to buy. You should buy now.
It's one of those things where, I guess it's a properties are going up, don't buy. Properties are going down, don't buy. Properties are level, don't buy. It's probably people's default. It's when is the sort of, yay, I'm going to buy, this is the perfect time. It's not.
Yeah.
You're right. The media outlets don't publish shit like that.
And the truth of it is, the perfect time doesn't exist. There will always be a reason out there of why it's a risk to purchase. That's just the nature of it. It's a market that's always moving. And for that reason, no one knows what tomorrow is going to bring. So therefore, we should always hold on. But the bottom line is sometimes you do just have to jump in. And relevant to today is we've now had 2 months in a row, no interest rate increases.
Big time, and inflation go down like for a quarter, which is what the whole reason they were trying to get these rates up is because of goddamn inflation. Now, the thing that disturbs me the most, and I'm sure everyone out there can agree, the thing that disturbs me the most is the mortgage cliff. Interest rates are going up. People are on fixed rates. They're coming off, and everyone's like, ooh, watch out for the mortgage cliff. Yeah,
it's so true. Because that's the thing. Most people aren't worried about when interest rates are going up. They're thinking about, well, what's the effect it's going to have on the property market, and so people are concerned about, well, if people can't afford to pay their mortgages, there's going to be all these defaults. There's going to be all this distressed selling, and that's when the opportunity is going to be.
Michael, if we've had 12 rate rises and if everyone is freaking out about the mortgage cliff, I want you to think about this. What does the mortgage cliff actually look like? What does the mortgage cliff look like the past 12 months? And what is the mortgage going to look like the next 12 months? Because it's not going to go like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, oh, we're coming to the cliff. Boom, down you go. And I've got a piece of information I'd like to share with you that's going to blow your mind, and now people that are watching, it's going to blow their mind because they're going to look at that and go, that doesn't look like it's how it looked in my brain. That doesn't look like how it's meant to look. That doesn't look like the perception that I have in my mind of the mortgage cliff. Now, I can't paint the future, but we can look at the past, and we're going to show you, because what you should be seeing, this is probably a leading comment, but what you should be seeing is shit getting real, and that cliff or that bubble getting bigger and bigger and bigger, about to burst.
So for you guys that are at home reading on what's this graph that Mark's just put up, this is the proportion of listings on domaincom that are considered urgent or distressed. So these are distressed sales. And it's very, very obviously we'll talk mainly about Sydney, but the trend is pretty much similar across all major cities here. But October 22 to January 23, aka the end of last year, which I think we can all consciously say price-wise was definitely the bottom of the market, where the market bottomed out, was when the most amount of distressed sellings were, or people that were, let's say, defaulting their loans that had to sell. So it's really interesting to see because, like you said, Mark, that graph is now drastically moving back the other way.
Where's the boogeyman?
Do you want to know the truth?
Everyone's worried. The boogeyman, the future, the issue. And don't get me wrong, I understand people are in pain. I understand that there are distressed people out there. I understand it's really hard for all of us. I understand people's interest rates have tripled. But the reality or the byproduct of this is it. This is the reality, and this is the byproduct of what's really happening out there. So I don't want to take away from anyone's pain, and there is compassion there. I feel it. But I do want to say it's not going to be Armageddon like people are suggesting when I see information like this.
And the truth of it is, and it's probably something that hasn't really been spoken about much publicly, but the property mortgage cliff has been happening to us for the past 24 months anyway. We just haven't noticed it. So what I mean by that is we've been selling for vendors over the past 24 months. Everyone has different reasons they're selling, whether they're getting a bigger house, upsizing, downsizing, whatever they might be doing. And what we'll find is we may not truly know in the background what someone's situation is, why they're selling their property. And I'd hazard a guess there's lots of people that there's a difference between someone shifting their lifestyle versus a distressed sell. And I think there's a lot of people that over the past couple of years, as interest rates have increased, have decided to pivot their lifestyles, shift their lifestyles, sold, and then gone and bought differently. And I think that's been happening this whole time, and we haven't even noticed that people have been shifting. And that's what stopped this so-called cliff from happening. I think people have been doing it for a long time already.
A quarter of the properties purchased in Sydney have been purchased with no mortgage, zero debt in the last 12 months. My take on this is a 12-month view on mortgage defaults, and we've got all of our states in there. So nobody can hide from this, and no one can say they're worse off or better off. But my take on this is when people got slapped by unexpected interest rate rises, they reacted and they got hurt. It was a uncalculated, didn't see it coming from anywhere shock. That's when the defaults hit that red bit up the top, right? Yeah. That's when the real pain sort of set in. People changed, like you said, pivoted. They changed their posture. They changed their spending. They changed the way they're holding their assets. They sorted their stuff out, and then you saw it drop. So it's pretty interesting that it's coming back to 21 levels, which is 2 years ago, which is when everybody was eating cake.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to see. And I just think because there's been that shift with people's decisions on what they're going to do with their property, the bottom line is what affects the prices with properties, because people are selling for all different kinds of reasons. And if people are distressed, I'm sure that people are selling out there that are definitely struggling financially. But the bottom line is the only time that's going to actually start to affect prices if the amount of those sellers outweighs the amount of buyers that are out there in the market. And we've seen it time and time again, and this is fact, this is not predicting for the future, but right now there are a lot of buyers out in the marketplace looking to buy. So even if there's people out there needing to sell, as long as that demand's there from the buyers, it's going to counteract itself, and the so-called cliff of prices won't come. The only time that cliff of prices will come is if all the buyers dry up and all the sellers go through the roof in terms of needing to sell. Until that day happens, the market will not just drop off a cliff.
Can I get you just to move over for a sec, because I'm getting half of your head? Lisa Novak says the property market is so kind if you can stick in it long term. Hallelujah. Bell says says Serbia. That's good. How's the property market in Serbia going, Billy boy? Is this what the this is what the RBA isn't telling us when you see this sort of information? Look, the RBA's got a pretty good hold on perception in the marketplace, and I don't sort of think that they want to be seen spruiking this sort of stuff either. I get it, and don't get me wrong, we're probably biased in we're real estate agents. We've got a different agenda to the RBA. What else is Miss Lisa saying? She's got a lot of comments this morning.
Yeah, Northern Beach's stock is still low, approx 530 properties in the market, usually near double that. You're right, Lisa, and that's sort of what I was on the back of what I was saying before. Until there's more sellers out there than buyers, the market will remain buoyant. And also, I don't think people are malicious out there as well, because all the buyers we're talking to, some of them are wanting and waiting for this cliff to happen with it. It's not like people are wanting ill will on others, because obviously the nature of what a mortgage cliff would be is there's a lot of people in a really, really dire situation. That's not a nice thing. So I don't think people wish that upon people. They just want to know there's an opportunity when they're buying the property. They know that they're buying at good value. Well, the truth of it is the market came off 20% last year. You're off the peak. You're not buying at the most expensive time. There is good value out there. Because guess what? You hold on to your property, you buy today, you hold on for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, it's going to be more than what you paid for it today. So the value's there. You're not buying at the peak of the market. And I think that's a great thing for people to understand, as opposed to needing this big catastrophic event to be the catalyst for them to go out and purchase. You're honestly gambling a lot more waiting for that to happen than just actually going out, buying and holding.
I want people's comments. I want to know what people are thinking. Please let us know right now. This is a live show. If you're on Novak Facebook, make a comment. Let us know. Do you want to know something that we don't talk about much?
What's this?
Something that we don't talk about much. Good morning, Luke, you legend. Luke's saying long term. Something that we don't talk about much is there was a major investigation that the government conducted with banks. It was a royal commission. Now, that royal commission spanked the banks, and they said, we want your assessment to be more stringent, harder. That royal commission was almost 10 years ago. What's the byproduct of it? Banks got tough on lending. They only it was called responsible lending that they were really, really affected by. So banks got tougher, banks got more responsible, and guess what? Banks started assessing people 3, 4, 5, 6% above where the market was. So technically, not only are these people being assessed hard that they should have the money to actually pay these interest rates, because open banking started, or it just got so tough. Tax portals were opened up, were provided to banks to assess clients even better. So there was no silly lending. These guys can afford it. And these guys that can afford it, that have written a loan in the last 5 years, have also had some really good capital growth in the last 5 years. There's fat there.
Yeah, it's true. And also bear in mind as well, like you ask anyone at the moment that's going to buy a property that's borrowing a good percentage of it, it's tough to get a loan. It's really, really tough in terms of the amount of criteria you need to meet, obviously the amount that they're going to make sure that you can service the mortgage on. It's tough. And that's what people have been, it's been stringent to make sure that people meet that criteria when they're buying a property. And the bottom line is a lot of people, outside the people that bought within the past couple of years, most other people have got a substantial amount of equity within their properties. and they've been paying down their mortgage over a number of years. And then the people that have bought within the past couple of years that maybe have been hit hardest with this, I can guarantee you those people there are going to be fighting tooth and nail. They're the ones that are going to want to be selling the least. And even still, they make up still a very small portion of the total marketplace of how many people own houses. Once again, going back to what I said, even if a lot of those people need to sell, if there's enough buyer demand there, you're not going to feel it in property prices. You won't even know. The amount of times we've put up deceased estate homes for sale that are meant to be cheap, meant to be a bargain, and then they end up going for record prices because everyone jumps on them. If the demand's there, the prices will stay.
So in summary, before we go, I want to say that the banks want two things when they give out a loan. They want to see a shit ton of cash flow, and they've become much harder on that, much more accurate on that assessment over the last 10 years since the Royal Commission. The banks also want equity. They want deposit. They're not doing 100% loans like they used to, or 104% loans like they used to. For those two reasons, I think we're okay with the property market. It's always going to be a roller coaster. It's never going to be a straight and level road. But essential purchases and essential sales will always happen. And long term, you're always going to win. Just grit your teeth and get through it.
Exactly. And that's what you want. That's what you want. Otherwise, why would you want to buy a property if it's so risky and volatile? You want something that you know is going to be there and stand the test of time.
Boom.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.